the membership, there may just be a slight variation in the order of the agenda. That election will now move to agenda 9, be done after appointment of auditors. And also it will be about appointment of auditors. Is there any reservation about that change of order? There is no reservation. We will then move to recording of apologies. SG, those who have sent apologies. We can allow the to register the apologies that may be posted online. There's Major Juan, what's an apology? It's Duncan Udembo. So Major Juan, that's member number 11. Member number 85, that's also an apology, that's Duncan Udembo. Member number 94, Caleb Okello. Member number 13, Elias Ochola. There's member number 76, that's Abraham Makumba. Member number 30, policy, might also send apology. Those are apologies registered so far. With that, we can move to confirmation of minutes of previous AGM. Given that there hasn't been an AGM, it was the reunion meeting. Secretary will advise whether we have that, but ideally we can consider that there is no previous minutes for an AGM.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have not had any other AGM apart from the inaugural meeting that we had here on 10th of May 2019.
Thank you. So there is no matters arising from that. We then move to receiving and adopting the council report. The report is part of the annual report and financial statement, which can be projected.
Okay, just a minute, we are putting it online.
We are waiting for it to be projected, even though it's been reposted in the assembly.
So members online, are you able to see?
So the council report starts from page 2 to page 13 of that report, whereby on the first page, we'll just go briefly because we take it that members have read it and can read it, given it had been shared earlier. On the first page is just a confirmation that RINGA All Boys Association was registered, and we now have a certificate, so it's under Societies Act. And there's a constitution guiding us, which each member have always been given a copy of that Constitution 2019 about how we operate. And it's on the basis on which we convened this AGM and are carrying out other various activities. We have 3 objectives as ROBA: to bring, unite, and promote the status and interest and welfare of the alumni. Second is to collaborate, help, and promote the status and interest of the school. And third is to collaborate with other people and organizations with similar objectives. Our vision is to be a premier high school alumni association in Kenya, and our principal activities is to assist in development of our membership, the school, the students, and community at large. The executive committee is responsible for management of ROBA, and members of the executive are that now are 7, which is on page 3 and page 4. And today we're going to carry out also an election to elect new executive members. On page 5 we have 4 standing committees, though the Constitution allows creation of any other committee as is necessary. And there was a committee which had been created some times back of investment, and we'll also give their report. And the Constitution allowed for creation of that committee. So the 4 committees which are standing is Finance Committee, headed by CPA Dennis Arogo. This Welfare Committee number 2, headed by Sir Leo Rachwanyo. Third is Logistics Committee, headed by Paul Osimo. And the fourth is Resource Mobilization Committee, headed by Peter Yabuya. We have Representative Council, and as at December, it had 26 members. Because at now it has 29 members. But the report we are giving, the documents today is at 31st of December 2022. And the members of the council are composed of various representatives, which is the school's representative, and the school representative is with us here also, Chief Principal Austin Muma, we also thank for hosting us for this AGM. There is diaspora representative and Engineer Maxwell Odhiambo representing diaspora, and elections is going to be carried out today in accordance to the Constitution. We had Major John Ojwang representing Nairobi region. He sent an apology. He won't be with us, but he'll help in conducting elections of that region. We have Tom Awiti, who is representing Nyanza region. Then there are various cohort representatives. For 76 was Elias Ichola. They are all listed there up to 2016, which was Adrian Rao, representing 2016 cohort. Again, elections are going to be carried out for these cohorts. We have advisory elections board who are going to help us conduct elections today. It's headed by Jacob Akoko, cohort 87. Vice chair is William Ugo, cohort 92. They are both here. And there's Tadayo Mutoko of cohort 204. The highest decision-making organ of the institution is the assembly, which is composed of all registered members of the association. So in terms of decision-making, is the assembly as the highest, followed by the council, and then the third is the executive committee. And below executive committee are the standing committee. So that's the order of decision making. Our registered office is using the school. Our bankers is Cooperative Bank. Our contacts as association is also we're using the school plus our mobile numbers, email, and the website. The auditors who were carried this duly ward, and today our internal auditor, CPA Paul Maher, is also going to advise us on who is going to give next. There is my report there as well, which is a summary of where we want to go on page 8. And on this, I would request the members we observe 1 minute silence in honor of 3 of our members whom we lost. We lost one before December 31st, 2022. That was member Alicia, whom we lost then. We have since also lost 2, member Albert Apia, and also Tobias Nyumba. To us, we observe a minute silence in honor of them. Thank you. Thank you, Mama. We appreciate your patience since the inauguration to create this association. We are striving with creating structures, and some are in place, some are still lagging behind. Of course, we've been having resource constraints, both human resource and finances, but we manage within what we have to be where we are today. We've initiated programs to help the three arms of ROBA: the school, the students, and the members. For the students, there have been motivational talks in bursaries, whose details we will present later. For the school, it was the fundraising towards the construction of additional structures. And for the members have been the welfare programs of GLD, and we recently have the investment program that is going to continue running and represented today. Membership had grown to 96. Unfortunately, we lost 3. We're 93 now, but we'll task each and every cohort member to try to get more of their cohorts to join in. When the elections board will be conducting the elections in the cohort, we'll note about the membership. That will also be shared. You'll note that there are cohorts which are single members, and the board will advise on how that is handled. There are some which are few and more, so there's still more of members we can convince as the cohort. Cohort is the strength of this association, because you know those you are with in your area more than in the region or in the larger ROBA membership. We had a constitution in place, implementing it. The challenges which have been realized, those should be reviewed going forward to help in having sustainable structures. The financial report we presented here on the 31st of December 2022 by our internal auditor, or Maher, and our able finance secretary, Dennis Arogo. If I go briefly on page 9, though I've hinted on to some those activities we carried out for the period of setting up the association, was Pillar 1, has been fully sorted. Pillar 2 was members' interest promotion, the third, school's interest, and the fourth, students' engagement. And more new programs are going to be proposed today in the AGM for members to deliberate in the context of mainly the 3 areas: what we're doing for students, what we're doing for the school, and what is to be done to the membership. So I may not go much into those details, but the place of keen interest is on the support to the students. That's under Pillar 3. It's been listed on page 11 as Pillar 4. Pillar 4, we've had 2 motivational talks. The first one was by our member Daniel, Dr. Aoi, and the second was we outsourced an inspirational speaker called Edward Okinda, but still Dr. Aoi was there. We had alumni Ezekiah Oyugi also talk to members and the executive members. Even today, after the AGM, we may talk with the candidates to inspire them. We have within the council and the executive, I remember one member was telling me that when I came and gave a talk here several years ago, that inspired him to be an engineer. And now he's also serving a ROBA. So you never know, whatever you're going to tell these students will be an inspiration to them. We dispersed bursary in 2022. We wanted it to be a sustainable structure and thing to be done. Even today, teachers here have appreciated it, and they have said they wish it's something which can be done every year. It is subjected to membership, also on proposal, because nothing has been done for this year, though we're in the middle of the year. But what I was happy about is that the bursary then total was, I think, 151,000. And it helped Form 4s then. Form 3s then were now Form 4s, I believe. Form 2s, and there was a Form 1. I think there were 10 Form 4s, 5 Form 3s, there were 5 Form 2s, and 1 Form 1. And during that, there's a student, we were looking at both performance and how much arrears they were having. So we had one student who was allocated 20,000. We had one who was allocated 18,000. We had 3 who were allocated 10,000 each. 3 had 8,000 each. 3 had 6,000 each. 2 had 7,000 each. There's one who was allocated 2,000. 1 5,000. 4 had 3,000 each, and 2 4,000 each. But I'm happy to report on the Form 4s who were supported, 10 of them, that one, Cyrus Batesi, whose mean grade was B+, scored an A- in KCSE, and we had given him 2,000 bursary because his areas were 15,500. And what I must appreciate the school representative is that whatever average grades we got and used then were more or less reflected in their performance, slight improvement. So that is shows reliability, and that these are results you can bank on. It's a time I was talking with chair of Mangu High School because somebody wanted to help to get student a place there, and there was a funny comment that where does that student come from region. So it's important, and we support the school for ensuring that we have people who are able to do what they can do with the potential they have. Each and every student needs to get their potential. Not everybody must get an A, and not everybody must get a C. But each and every student should get their potential. The second one was Franklin Okot, whose average grade was B. In KCSE, he got B+. We had given him 8,000. Third was Michael Odhiambo, whose average grade was B-. He got B in KCSE. We had given him 6,000. Felix Omondi, average grade was C+. He got B- in KCSE. We had given him 10,000. Moses Otieno, average grade was C+. He got B-. KCSE. We had given him 7,000. Denish Ochieng, his average grade was C-. He got C+ in KCSE, and we had given him 8,000. Danish Obiero, his average grade was C+. He maintained the same in KCSE, and we had given him 6,000. Ned Onyango, average grade was C+. He maintained the same in KCSE. We had given him also 6,000. There's Victor Owenga at C-, average grade. He got C in KCSE, and we had given him 10,000. There is Eric okay, the 10th Form 4, whose average grade was C. In KCSE is the only one who dropped to C minus, which I can't speak for him, but I suspect it could be probably also fee challenge, because he had the highest arrears of 135,338, and is the one we had given 20,000. So this may also be a pointer on the kind of support we need to give this, because if you look at the others improved on theirs, probably it may have been related to this, it could also have improved. But that makes me happy. During the bursary, alumni Ezekiah even celebrated the least boy who performed in class, because that also gives potential you can with various support. And welfare secretary will present during the time what we're proposing as various awards. So I thought that for the school, because the software is important, there are people who will be asked later and will be the members who go into those specific areas in my report. On page 12, we've looked at the committee discussion analysis, though probably because it has some financial bit, I could leave it to the finance secretary, but it was part of the council report. That generally we have raised a total of 3,320,366, and we spent 3,020,157, retaining about 300,209, about 9%. Our business is not in having surplus, because we are a society, but because of the registrations, which each member registered by 5,000 non-refundable, that's what led into this. And we'll also advise members here within the investment, there are certain things we may get your approval in terms of utilizing that fund continuously to keep helping on a few areas, because we don't charge also subscription fees for management of various things. The GLE has been a good program which was initiated. We should be in the 4th year now, but as of this report, we should be, I think, maybe in the 4th year now. Secretary will confirm. But at this report, we have had 3 sessions, and in the first instance, we got a compensation of, it's unfortunate, you don't want anybody to pass on, but again, it is a reality of life that those are risks which can fall anybody. So in the inaugural last expense cover we had, the overall cover for all membership was equal to a value of 48,400,000, and we paid a premium of 313,307. For the members who unfortunately lost some of their loved ones during that time, I remember there were 2 members who had covered then, no, there were 3. There was Engineer Pan, who had covered his late mom, may her soul rest in peace. We had Maurice Odago, who lost 3 members of the family within a span of 1 month, that's in June 2021, had also covered. And I think we also had member Richard Ogendo, because the other year well covered. So the compensation we got from insurance was 508,000. So if you look at even the premium we paid, all members who were in the cover, so the insurance lost, if you're looking specifically at us. But as we were covered that you are able to be helped in the first instance. I think SG, when presenting the report on last expense, will be able to highlight that. The second renewal, the total value was 44,050,000. We paid a premium of 309,675. Those details may not be in this main report, but I have them because the report also had a brief and a summary. So don't expect to find them in there. But the premium was, in the second instance, the premium we paid was 309,675. Covered us for a value of 44,050,000. And the compensation we got in that year may have been about that you will see in the report, probably 891,785. So again, the insurance company lost covering us. But to our members, it made the loss a little bit lighter. Because if you are able to carry out the basics with those last expense cover, because the minimum is 100,000 bond, the highest is 500,000 bond. And from what you are told, if God forbid all registered members were convened at a place and a bomb exploded in Unit 1, the insurance was going to pay this 44 million for their last expense. So that shows you the value of this cover. On page 13, you talked about the expenses that you incurred and also retained. The future outlook, in my view, is bright for this association. And with the elections that's going to be carried out today, the new leadership that are going to be there, both corporate representatives, the representatives, and the executive committee, have an opportunity to take this to a better level and fine-tune the structures that will be in place. But we want this to be sustainable. A number of things needs to be ensured is sustainable. We are operating in hard economic times, and that's also why we sought for donations from members instead of asking each member to pay premium to policy. And we're happy with the support we got from the membership, the donations that have come in. There are those who also give in kind, like the chief principal here, Austin, has been quite supportive in kind. Like now we're convening here without, if it was not that we have somebody allow us to convene in school, we'll spend on it on the outside. Our meals, that one we takes care of. When we need a document to register ROBA, because the register church needed a letter from the school, details like the postal address, the title number, they were easily available. So those supports were on there. And the membership here who have come physically. So on that, I'm convinced that the future can only be bright. And I had called that let's offer ourselves to serve and to support. There are certificates we issue here for various people who supported in diverse ways. They are both who have supported in service. Members of council who are here, the executive who meet a number of times, it is service that they are offering to the society. I'm happy to see Robert here, who offered himself to be secretary for Nyanza region, and I'm sure they will help in making the Nyanza region good well. Wolf here supporting in the elections board, Coco, who is not here now, and we have members of the executive. We'll need more of that member. Boaz, the person, and also been supportive, is the one who is, as much as we are paying for the membership donations, but he coordinates that we have the refreshments here. So those supports will be important for us going forward. And in that service, there is what is called, it will not be this report, but a schedule of meetings that the officials have in order to serve you. When we started in 2019, the executive committee had a total of 10 meetings within the year to start setting up these structures. I would not go into the scores, but the scores, if it was by governance standards, which CPA ROBA and CPA Maher would have loved this to be in the main report. But the list, the number here was that those who attended list meetings amongst the officials had attended 7 meetings out of 10, which would still be 70%. That's a show of the level of commitment we have on the membership here. When the following year, 2020, and the trend shows that structures were now getting into place, because when you're forming something, you meet several times to set it up, but once things start rolling and the meetings become less because things now working. It's reduced to 8 meetings. Again, on that, performance was good. The list attendance was 7/8. On 2021, meetings reduced further to 6. And that's against a point that now structures will continue working better. And that performance, it's only one member who went below average 2/6, but because it was also a combination of work, study, and this other service, so it's understandable. In 2022, meetings reduced to 5. Again, that's a pointer that things were getting much as you may not have getting things the way you want, but there are certain structures which were running. And even in convening this AGM today, I witnessed that in various officials doing their roles effectively, from we are mobilizing the resources to welfare secretary, providing the various, the banner we now seeing behind us here. There's one at the gate. The chief principal ensuring the banner is picked in time and put on the gate. Secretary General banning midnight. I don't know whether we still can call it midnight oil, midnight electricity, to serve us with this document. And Finance Secretary, even coming early yesterday to ensure that most of these things were set up. So we are on the right track. And that I submit as the council report, which will request for your adoption. Thank you. In the adoption, I believe we usually ask for a proposal and a second, if I'm right, Secretary. Yes. So who can propose adoption of that report? Second. It is free of charge to propose and to second.
But non-member of the council.
Yes.
Yes, it has to be a non-member of the...
Even those online can propose.
Yeah, Isdo is not a member of the council. Isdo, even a court going down the other. ROBA is not in the council yet. You are still smelling it until a coco says that you are in the council later today. It can still be snatched from your mouth.
May you allow me to propose the adoption of the report that I will prepare?
Thank you. The name and membership number will be required.
Francis Aguirre.
Yeah.
I can't remember my membership number. Let me see.
Francis again, thank you.
Yes.
And also for offering to be the regional representative for Nyanza. I think I'm seeing him in person for the first time. But that is also the first test that as the regional rep, you must know your number.
The number is ROBA 98. ROBA stock 98 20
75.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But once you mention to us the last one,
Yeah.
the others are easier to find. So just the last 3 digits we should. 95, yeah?
75.
75. Yeah, so it's not that new. Thank you, Francis Aguirre. Seconder? Yes, William.
I'm number 57. Problem number 57. And 92.
Okay. Maybe for you, we should have asked you the full membership number because when you heard we asked him, you must have been checking.
They have known this.
Yeah. Thank you. So that's the council report. We could proceed to, ordinarily there should be a discussion of such a report, but I would recommend we can combine it with after presentation of the audited and financial statement. So we could go to invite the finance secretary, Dennis Arogo, and internal auditor Maher to take us through the financial, audited account and financial statements. Thank you. If you're looking at the program, that is number 7 in the program. So Finance Secretary, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And it is my pleasure to present the financial statements of this association, the Outdoor Association, for Thank you, Mr. President. It is my pleasure to present the financial statements and annual report for RINGA Old Boys Association for the period ending 31st December 2022. My name is CPA Dennis Arogo. I'm currently the Finance Secretary for the association. We work together with the internal auditor, CPA Paul Maher, who will comment on the financial statements after presentation. My work is to prepare, his is to review, give an opinion, and comment. So I will present and give you the opportunity to comment on the report and financial statements. The financial statements that we are presenting in this annual general meeting are for the period 2019 to 2022. This is because the standards require that financial statements are supposed to be prepared for a period of up to 18 months. But this is the first annual general meeting. We've had our financial statements prepared before, but they were not presented in the annual general meeting. That is the reason that we agreed with the internal auditor that we combine all the statements for the previous year and consolidate them and present them at once. If you look at the financial statements, they do not have comparative balances or opening balances because this is the first AGM. And I will start. The annual report and financial statements have been prepared in accordance with the accrual basis of accounting method. And I'll take you to page 14. Page 14 is the statement of Finance Committee responsibilities, and as has been elaborated by the President, we have committees, and it is the responsibility of the Finance Committee that I chair to prepare the financial statements and annual reports. This is documented in Article 16B, Section 3, subsection 4 of the Constitution that requires the Finance Committee to keep books of accounts of all monies received and paid by the association. It is also the committee accepts that it is their responsibility to prepare the financial statements using appropriate accounting policies supported by reasonable and prudent judgments. The Finance Committee of ROBA is of the opinion that the association's financial statements give true and fair view of the state of association's transactions during the financial period ended December 31st, 2022, and of the association's financial position as at that date. The Finance Committee of ROBA further confirms that the transactions and the records that are presented in this AGM are complete of all the accounting records maintained by ROBA. This is very important, the last paragraph, and I take us to that last paragraph, that in preparing the financial statements, nothing has come to the attention of the Finance Committee to indicate that the association will not remain a going concern for at least next 12 months from the date of this statement. The statement was signed on 10 March 2023, and that means that according to the Finance Committee, ROBA will be a going concern up to 10 March 2024. Nothing has come to the attention of the committee to indicate that ROBA may dissolve. The association maintains one bank account that is, and we maintain a bank account with Cooperative Bank, Thika Road Mall branch, account number 011-922 for 50,040,300, as documented on page 7. So all our revenues have been collected through that Cooperative Bank account. I take us to page 12, the committee discussion and analysis, and that is where a summary of the financial report is. During the financial period ending 31st December 2022, ROBA was able to raise a total of Kenya shillings 3,320,366 against expenditure of Kenya shillings 3,020,157, resulting to a utilization rate of 91% and a surplus of Kenya shillings 300,209.9%. We have four main sources of revenue, and at page 12 we have a summary of how each source generated. So out of the four, welfare was the highest at 53%, grants and donations at 27%, registration at 15%, and GLE compensation at 5%. Next, page 13, on expenses, we had a number of categories, the expenditure classes, and again here, the members' welfare take the bigger chunk, the biggest, at 55%, followed by school development at 17%, operating and supporting expenses at 16%, students' welfare at 11%, and fines and penalties or legal costs at 1%. I would like that we now go to the financial statements itself, and we start at page 15. So, I would like to present the financial statements as follows. I will start with the statement of income and expenditure for the year ended 31st December 2022, and membership registration realized, we are on revenue. Membership registration realized 508,000. This is mainly generated from the registration fee of 5,000, which is one-time payment. If you want to know how this was realized, you go to note 1, the 508,000, and note 1 is on page 19, where as at this date, we had 96 fully registered members. If you have 95 members by 5,000, you realize 475,000. 20 members had partially registered as at 31st December 2022, realizing 33,000. And the 20 members, it was a resolution of the executive committee that they be deregistered, because most of them registered, paid their partial registration fees in 2019. And so the list is also available for the scrutiny of the assembly. So that totals to 508,000. Grants and donations during this period realized 891,785, and this again has been elaborated by note 2 at page 19. So if you look at note 2, we had a number of activities where members were called upon to donate and contribute. The last one being 12th February 2022, the bursary that Mr. President had talked about, realizing 151,100 shillings. We are not including any donations and grants that we received after 31st December 2022. The third source of revenue was welfare contributions, and this is to do with the welfare of the members. Again, here we realized 258,500. That is well supported by note 3. Note 3 at page 19. And the welfare program contributions were majorly for members who had bereavements before the introduction of the GLE cover. So all these were during 2019, 2020, whereby we had 3 members who were bereaved, and a total of 258,000 was contributed towards the bereavement. The next source of revenue during the period was group last expense contributions, and this is for only the registered members of the GLE. A total of 1,471,081 shillings was contributed by the registered members of the GLE during the period. This is well elaborated by note 4, which is at page 19 still. Year 1, there were 28 members insured, some assured 50 million, total amount paid 346,870. Year 2, which was 2020-2021, 30 members were insured, the number moved from 28 to 30. Some assured 50 million, 248,300. Total amount is 276,146. You may ask yourself why the premium is moving down, but it is because of change of the insurer during that period. Year 3, 2021-2022, the number of insured moved again from 30 to 35, covering a total of 44,050,000 with insurance premium of 236,962. Year 4, 2022-2023, which is the current cover, and total insured 41. Some assured 79,250,000. Total amount that has been paid for the current cover was 611,103. So if you look at the past 4 years that the GLE has been in place, a total of 1,471,081 has been received from the members. The next source of revenue was group last expense compensation, and it was agreed that there is a charge, an administration fee that is charged for those who are covered, 200 to 300 shillings. So out of these 4 years that the GLE members have been paying, they have been charged admin costs, admin charges, and during compensation, if you are compensated for the members who have been compensated, there is a percentage that is retained, 10%. So if you are paid 250,000, the association will transfer 225,000 to you and retain 25,000. So the 25,000 is the 10% that the association has been retaining is what has a total 150,000, which is also elaborated at note 5 on page 20. So, investment registration fees. This was the new. This was the last source that started last year. 41,000 was realized out of the investment registration fees, and this is elaborated by note 20, by note 6 at page 20. You can see the number of members who had registered as at that date. So if you add all those revenue sources, you realize that the association received total revenue of 3,365.99 shillings. Next is on expenses, still on the statement of income and expenditure. And as I had indicated in the summary, we have 5 main expenditure classes: operating and supporting expenses, elaborated by note 7, which total to 484,034. If you look at note 7, which is on page 21, you get to know what these operating and supporting expenses are: the communication, the stationery supplies, the domestic travel, all those ones, including audit fees. So for the 3 years, the association incurred a total of 484,034 on operating and supporting expenses. On members' welfare, which is the biggest portion of the expenditure, the association incurred a total of 1,673,523, elaborated by note 8 at page 21. And the main classes of the welfare expenses are: 1, the bereavement support in cash. Before the introduction of the GLE, cash was contributed, and the 3 members who were given were supported by 266,577. We also have last expense. We also have the last expense, insurance premium paid, and the premium paid amounted to 1,406,946. So someone may ask, what is the difference between the group last expense contribution that I talked of 1.471 and the insurance premium paid at note 8? So the 1.471 was what we received, and the 1.406 now was what we paid to the insurance companies. So that is an expense. The one that we received is recognized as revenue, while the ones that we transmit to the insurance companies are recognized as expenses. Next is school development expenses, which total to 500,000. This was one of the fundraiser that was explained. So this was one of page note 9, and it was towards the construction of dormitory, amounting to 500,000 shillings. The students' welfare expenses amounted to 322,600. These have been elaborated by note 10. You can see during our first meeting here on 10th of May, June 2019, we bought refreshments and a bowl for the students at a cost of 151,600,000. Disbursement of bursary, 151,000. That was last 2021. And then we have had 2 annual motivational talk. We have incurred expenses related to the motivational talk to students amounting to 20,000. So the students' welfare, 332,600. Lastly is on fines and penalties, and these are related to, members may ask, what the 40,000 is all about. And in one way or the other, we incurred, not in one way, there was an incident where KRA slapped us with a penalty of 40,000, and this is the 40,000 that you can see as fines and penalties. So out of the 3.32 that was received, you can see we incurred total expenses of 3,020,000, resulting to operating surplus of 300,208.99, and that is what was in the bank account as at that date. 300,208.99. So that was the cash in the account, the bank balance. And that is all to do with the statement of income and expenditure. I'm going to the statement of financial position, which is commonly known as the statement of assets and liabilities. And the cash that was in the account was 340,208.99. I have just said that the surplus for the year was 300,208, but the cash in the bank balance was 340. So you realize that the bank had more cash than what was supposed to be by 40,000, and the 40,000 that is excess in the bank was as a result of the fines and penalties which had not been paid by then, and because this had not been approved by the necessary bodies. So we have recognized it as an expenditure, but we had not paid, so the amount was still in the bank. Of 310,000. The accumulated surplus is, so the total, if you look at the net assets, you get 310,208, and that is at page 16. The statement of financial position was approved by the Finance Committee on 8th of March 2023, signed by the Finance Secretary, CPA Dennis ROBA, and the association's president, Collins Omodiko. The statement of cash flows at page 18. This is a statement that shows the actual cash that was received and the actual cash that was paid. And you can see the cash and cash equivalents at the end of the year was 340,208.99. So this is what should be in the bank as at that date. And so you compare the cash and cash equivalents at the end of the year, the figure of 340,208, compare it to what has been disclosed in the statement of financial position, if they tally, and you can see cash and cash equivalents, note 13, indicates an amount of 340,208. So the two figures tallied. And I am not going to go through the notes because they are the same transactions or details that have been presented in the financial statements, except that now the notes expand or give proper details. And annexures, I'll take you to page 24. These are not part of the financial statement, but the standards require that we disclose them to you for your consumption. Fully registered members as of 31 December 2022. These have been detailed. The details are shown at pages 24 to pages 26. Schedule of the registered members, those who partially paid, again Annex 6.2, then 20 members that were deregistered. You can see their details at note 6.2 on page 26. There are 20 members. The next annexure is schedule of members, grants and donations. So this is where each member we document when we seek for your donations. Like now we have been seeking for your donations towards this AGM, which will be reported in the next AGM because it's going to be presented in the next financial statements. So each and every shilling, each and every donation that you've given us has been documented at Annex 6.3, starting at page 27, all the way to page 29. So you look at your membership number and see how you've worked with us or how you've contributed since the association was established. Annexure 6.4 is schedule of ROBA group last expense premium receipts. Again, this one is only for those who are registered in the GLE cover. And you can see, for example, member number 001 has contributed a total of 106,044 shillings. So this is again presented at pages 30 to 31. Annexure 6.5 is schedule of welfare contributions. Again, this shows what each and every member had contributed as at this date. Again, this is the details are shown at pages 32 to pages 34, and that is a summary of the report, financial report and statement as at 31st December 2022 that I hereby submit in this meeting to be adopted and approved. But before that, I will give the auditor a chance to comment on these reports, and financial statements. Thank you, Mr. President.
It's okay.
Are you able to see me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President, and also thank you the members who are here and also those who are watching online. First, let me thank the Financial Secretary, Pierogo, for the financial reports. As an accountant, I know there's a lot of work that has gone through to present this. Also, let me correct that the internal auditor is not supposed to give an opinion, but is supposed to comment on the report, which, if you allow me, I will go through quickly because I have some comments which may be important for this AGM. The first comment is on the committee, the composition of the committee. I am of the opinion that we abolish the word internal auditor because generally internal auditor reports to the chair or the president. He's an employee. So you cannot have a member being an employee at the same time. What we can do is create a committee within the executive to have a committee on audit. You don't call it internal audit, but you call it a committee on audit. You can add risk, so you can call it a committee on audit and risk. That committee should not be in any of the other committees. because they're fairly independent. So if you're in that committee, then it means you don't fall in any of the other committees that are here. So you cannot be in the finance committee, you cannot be in the welfare, logistics, resource mobilization, and etc. But you can have a chair of that committee who will be doing almost similar roles as the one that has been done by the current internal auditor, myself. For those who are watching online, my name is CPA Paul Maheb, member number 004, cohort 95. So that is the first observation that we have. The other observation, just for noting, is on page, in the financial report, page 14, where we are saying statement of finance committee responsibilities, of the opinion that we say statement of executive committee responsibilities, because the executive committee are the ones presenting this report. The finance committee is just a component of the executive committee, so we can just change that. Doesn't change much of the report. So, because finance committee reports to another bigger executive committee, so these financial statements are being presented by the executive committee. And even the responsibilities that we have listed here are for the executive committee. It's a delegated responsibility to the finance committee. Now, let me quickly scan through the financial statements and give my comments. The finance secretary has explained that we have actually merged the reports for 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. We had discussed this and also had given my opinion, but just for noting, this might cause some problems in future, especially when we're going to register these financial statements. Because the law is 18 months, you can see we are presenting 4 years. But we didn't have a choice. I am aware that this is what we are presenting. I'm aware that we discussed that we merge it. If this AGM allows, then probably we just amend the notes. This is okay, but we just amend the notes so that we don't have 2019, 2020. We can reduce it to fall within the statutory requirements. So for example, if the requirement talks about 18 months, then the income that we received in 2019, we can bring it forward so that we don't expose ourselves with the other legal bodies that we will be required to present this report. In the first pages, Mr. President told us that this association was registered in 2019. That should be in the report. There's a page that we need to, that initial sections, we need to say the date of registration, if it is not already included. The report on meetings for future, we can discuss it. We can discuss the report on attendance of the committee members.
So that's on page 9.
It's on page 9.
Yeah. Other setting up of from 6th of December 2019.
Yes.
Even the certificate number is included.
Okay. Thank you. So for future reporting and for accountability of the executive and the committee members, we just need a page where we show the number of meetings as attended by the executive committee and also the committee members. So you just take, if the constitution says they need to attend 4 times, you just take the number of meetings they've attended. If they've attended 9 times, you also take, to help the members read those committee members who are not attending the meetings, unfortunately. So the members will be able to see that if we have given you the mandate to be a council member or a committee member, then how many times are you attending those meetings? Are you committed to that association? So it helps the General Assembly in understanding briefly how the members of the executive are attending their meetings. This probably will apply to the regional representatives that we are having. If they're going to hold meetings, then we can have a section where we are taking the number of, if they're holding meetings, then we take the number of times they're holding those meetings. It's for accountability to the members, but also to other bodies that we report to. Now, let me go quickly, because I know we are running out of time, to this report. In our earlier discussions, we had discussed the presentation, and I'm discussing presentation because if we file this report as it is with care, they will not be looking at the explanation on your income is 3.3 or your expenditure is 3.020. They'll be looking at that bottom figure and probably will slap you with 30% charge on income tax. We can go around it. What we can do, and which we had recommended earlier, is if I contribute for a group expense and the insurance pays me if I lose, if I die or my dependent dies, that is not an expenditure for the association. Or that contribution we are making to that body is not an income to the association. Our income is the percentage that we charge. There is nothing wrong with the way we have presented it, but I'm talking for future. So what it means is that your income, we need to see how our income, the net income, is moving from year 1, year 2, year 3, and we should be able to compare the growth. We should be able to compare the growth in the association on how we collect our revenue. So that growth you can't compare if you are going to put in the report money that you've collected from the claims we are making. So if in 1 year, God forbid, we have so many of them, this figure will shoot very high. And if in the subsequent year, God helps us that we don't lose many people, then the drop will be significant. So somebody who is comparing year 1 and year 2 will find a very huge difference. And they'll be asking you, so why is your income going down? While in real sense your income has not gone down. So we had recommended that we post that to a liability account. So it is a liability until it is paid. So if we receive money from the insurance, we just clear it from the liability section. Then you can easily compare the growth of ROBA association over the years. This way you get to explain a lot to the members if the figures go very high because of claims, or if the figures go down because of the claims as well. So that is what we had recommended for future. We can do that. Then the other thing that we have picked doesn't affect. Yes. Yes.
Sorry for the interruption.
Yes.
Probably, I don't know whether, because the matters you are giving us are a bit sensitive.
Yes.
Some of them is like they're suggesting we take some shortcuts to cushion us from potential exposure to probably the authorities you are mentioning.
Yeah.
And I can say this thing is online. Could we be
it is online to the members, right?
Sorry?
It is only online to the members.
How sure are you?
YouTube.
It's on YouTube.
Yes.
It can give us, it can expose us.
No, it
No,
doesn't.
so I'm saying there are some details that nobody could leave for the consumption of this room.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, we can do that. I was only looking at an independent. Yeah. So the other thing that we
You can ask the other members to be off for a period so that you don't stop the group share. But we can switch off the online. Switch off.
I think it's on the YouTube.
have actually moved from there.
We
So
just switch it off.
So maybe
There's
it's
nothing
done with the sensitive part.
there's nothing sensitive moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing is just a recommendation on the disclosure of the registration amount that we pay. It is non-refundable. That money is non-refundable. So we can, instead of putting it as income, we can take it to revenue reserves in the next statement of changes of net assets, this one. I don't know how many accountants are here, but I know CPA is understanding what I'm saying very well. So we take that amount that we collect for registration because it is non-refundable. So if it is non-refundable, it's like a capital, it's a seed. So it cannot be income for that year. We can take it to revenue reserves, and then it stays there. So if the movement will show the number of members who have joined. So if we start with 2 and it is increasing to 10 and 100, then you see it from that statement of changes in net assets. That is just a recommendation. We can adopt it for future. Yes. Yes.
You've raised a very fundamental question, which you can't just merely say that that's a solution that needs to be implemented. I think that should be the direction we take, because what you're saying is truly right, that it can't be an income.
This AGM can adopt it. These books have not been audited, so it's okay. Then that brings me to the members that have been deregistered. I think CPA Dennis mentioned some members who have been deregistered. I've looked at that annex. It's about 33,000. I don't know what our constitution, I'm sorry I've not read in detail what our constitution says when a member is deregistered. Do we refund? If we don't refund, are we exposed? Can they take us to court? So that is just for noting. We need to check again what our constitution says when a member is deregistered because they have not paid the registration money in full. So do we refund the money, or does the constitution back us so that we don't refund?
Maybe also through the chair needs clarity on that.
Yeah.
The use of the word members when you're not fully registered is out of context. So they're not members. You cannot refund the members. You just said that membership is non-refundable.
Yeah.
So basically the use of the term members there is wrong. So this needs to be amended.
All right. We probably will open the floor for that discussion. But if they're not members, then we need to refund. Yeah. But we will check what the constitution says. Then the other issue on the statement of financial position, just we check. I think under the last section represented by, you need to bring the investment fund. You need to bring the investment fund there so that it balances. Yeah, the statement of financial position, sorry CPA, it's actually not balancing because of the 10,000, which you can check in the statement of net assets, represented by accumulated surplus, that's 300,000, bring in the 10,000 on investment fund to, under that represented by, so that it agrees, that 10,000. You are able to see it? Are you able to see it?
I think it's balancing by, the balancing figure is 350,000.
The 10,000 investment fund is not here.
Which one?
Under represented by, check represented by. So total net assets is 310, which is represented by accumulated surplus and the investment fund. If you go to statement of changes in net assets, the next page. Yeah, so just that 10,000 to be brought in the statement of financial position. It's a simple thing which we can easily correct. Then I know it is important to disclose the assets that we have. I'm just wondering whether we need to disclose a figure of 10,000 or we expense it. But that is a simple thing that can be dealt with. If you maintain it here, then you're using a call, then you'll be expected to show some depreciation on it. If you don't show depreciation, then expense it so that it's not a capital item. The moment you put it as a capital item, you expect it to depreciate it in the PPE. So that is what we have under that section. The other section is, so we have paid this, no, the fines and penalties is 40,000 to carry. Just something that I would want to members probably to understand this. It is still outstanding to date.
We are discussing the report as of December 22.
I'm just
and
following.
as of that date, it was still outstanding.
I'm just following up.
Part of it has been paid.
Okay. The reason I'm following up, if it has not been paid to date, then probably it has accrued other penalties, additional penalties. That's the only reason why I am following up CPA. So apart from those comments, I must say that the financial statements represent a true and fair view of what the external auditors would give an unqualified opinion, but we still need to present them to the external auditor so that we can have the page on opinion, and then we can use them to file our returns with KRA and other bodies that will be there. There's a section where we'll be talking about the appointment of the auditors, so probably we'll discuss at that point when we reach there. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, the auditor. Your comments have been noted. What is to be implemented from your recommendations will be implemented. Where the executive committee disagrees with your recommendations, we'll discuss with you and we'll reach an agreement on what is to be presented to the external auditor. However, I think for us to wrap up on this, I don't know whether I'm overstepping my mandate. Apart from the recommendations that have been issued by the auditor, if any member has got any all right. At least there's one that I want to respond to now, and that is on the disclosure.
The report has not been adopted, so
I would ask members to adopt the report because the internal auditor was commenting as part of submission of the report, so that before we discuss it, we adopt it as well. So again, we request who can propose and who can second.
propose
Is your membership number when you
51, 051.
member number 51 has proposed? Who seconded? Membership number?
20 as we over 1990.
034 has seconded. So with the adoption of both reports, I will now open the floor for discussion of the two reports. That is both the council report and the financial statements. So the floor is now open for discussion. I would now first give FS whatever you wanted to respond as part of discussion of the report. It's still fresh in his mind. I just gagged him to allow for adoption. Oh, okay. You can report that because you also need to answer some questions. Fine. Then we ask members. Oh, it's okay. Thank you. Okay.
Maybe, Chair, I want to ask. I'm not really going to contribute much but I want to ask from you whether the adoption of the report includes the statements from the audit or excludes.
It should include the comments. It includes the statement from the auditor.
So that is why, in my opinion, there is something that
Lacuna.
ought not to have happened, because then the treasurer or the finance secretary made his comments clarified before.
Okay.
So I want to move that our adoption excludes the comments from
The auditor.
the auditor.
Well, can we draw the adoption first? Membership agrees. Then,
In fact, it is true. I second the movement
yeah.
because we have some issues. There are laymen in accountant here. We belong to different districts. But the way he has put it,
Yeah.
that now opens a room for the clarity, questions, where can we go? So that we adopt that thing after agreeing
Yeah.
with the agent.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that's well guided. I would suggest we then agree that
No, maybe, okay, I'll stand by my proposal, only if we also guided by the rules and regulations. Because maybe that will push it. We might not even adopt it. That's what you mean.
Which one?
No, I mean the report that is proposed. So if we suspend it for discussion, so number one, we need to be guided by the rules.
no, we're not suspending it.
Yeah.
He responds, some questions he raised which want to respond, then he will also confirm if they're acceptable. Then we adopt it again for members to discuss. We're not suspending it.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. See, the financial report ought to have been read by the auditor, not the finance secretary. And if, in this case, Mr. Maher, we give him the mandate of audit now, the only thing he has done is to give pointers of future correction or amendments where necessary. That does not stop us from adopting the report as it is. But the only thing which it is him and the FS, actually, what he has given us, they would have consumed the two of them. Because basically, there are technicalities in the process and reporting and terms. So it is nothing to stop us from making the proposal and adoption. And it is only that I'm not allowed to propose or to second, but it should be adopted as it is.
Maybe President, to make one more, could be a clarification, but also proposal or a solution what can be done. I want to believe
Or if
the
you don't
auditors.
mind, since he wanted to speak, it's more or less about his comments. Okay, can we listen to him first? Probably to make clear what he was about to say.
They may not. They may not, because what I thought, if the auditor's input is not covered here, because this is the financial report, then we adopt this, then this comes after as a comment, and we now discuss the comment. So that we don't include it in the adoption. It's actually it's not part of this. Or is it part of what is here?
No, it's not. No.
And I want to believe this is what we are adopting. So we adopt, then from his comment, we can now also give our reactions.
Yeah, I'm actually in agreement.
In that proposal,
We can adopt, but then there could be some changes. In any agenda, there could be certain changes that we will say we have adopted, but with
amendments.
For two amendments.
Okay.
So that it doesn't look like we are saying the accounts are A or B. If we adopt, those are very minor issues that we have discussed.
The ones you propose, mileage can just be amended.
Yes.
Yes, so you see, it is only for us to give them the mandate. The adoption gives them the mandate of even that issue of period, the 18-month threshold and all that, to see. But we have known internally that these are things we are mandating them to go and do on our behalf. So that does not stop us from the adoption.
So the earlier adoption
each
suffices.
Each article mentioned on each issue will be finalized and notes down. So when you go through now, you're going to amend as the GM project. Yes.
And I also love this last comment where he said, I believe that's usually what the statement says. It's a fair representation of status of the account, which he had said. So without the Coco, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just saying what Mr. Austin was saying was just to bring us back to legality, in that we did go out of the legal mandate of how to conduct a meeting. Once a report is read, it is proposed and adopted, and then comments come later. If anything, internal auditors' comments are not even part of this. Supposing they were external auditors, that's even, but what is giving us for our consumption is not even part of the report. So what he's saying is actually, so what he is saying is not a proposal. I mean, we are being brought back to sanity. We need to sanitize how we conduct ourselves. Yeah. So as much as we have adopted, we know ourselves that we have adopted the report. It should have been done prior to his comments.
Yes.
You know, there's something going around here, which the only thing is that the report is not, financial report is not given by the secretary of an organization. It is given by the auditor. Now, Mr. Paul happened to be our auditor in this case. He's the one who was to give this report and make those comments which he has made. So it is, we look at this thing as if there are two, but it is one thing. You understand?
Let me weigh in slightly. To my understanding, I think basically what we need to get out of this as members, I should say, is the financial aspect of it. How much money do we collect? How did we use it? I think we've been taken through. We've been taken through all that. The nitty-gritty is the technical aspects, probably. Might not suffice at the moment. That is what the advisor would do. But basically now, we raised 10 million. What will we do with 10 million?
We have known.
Yeah, I think up to that point, when we go into the technicalities, that one needs accountants, as Afando was trying to put it. And that one we can go rounds and rounds, the legalities and whatever. We are not going to actually finish this.
As members,
That is
we
my
have been
opinion.
known what to raise.
Yeah, you know how much you raised, were they misappropriated? No. Yeah.
Mr. President,
Or have I cheapened the
I
debate?
disagree. The reason why I'm disagreeing, it's a very important instrument in this kind of meeting that we have to be very careful about. And that is the minutes that we're raising. The minutes that you're raising from this minute, with this meeting, depends on what and how we go about the meeting. So I think we have reached somewhere. Let us agree or adopt it.
Yes.
We move with amendments.
Yes.
And then we move on. But I want to disagree with that the auditor gives the report. I don't agree. It is the finance person.
Who is the treasurer?
That is the standard thing. I want to believe that.
Yes. And then auditor should have a chance to look at the report before it is presented to us.
And give input because it
Yes.
was-
So the report should be an audited report.
It doesn't agree with it.
Let me stand corrected by my seniors here in the CPA. Who gives a report of audited accounts?
Of audited.
Audited.
Audited. Yeah, this report audited.
This is a financial report, not
This is a financial report. This is not audited report. So just
So, yeah.
So we move on from there.
So we consider it adopted with amendments, and we now open it for further discussion.
Seconded, isn't it?
Yes, it was proposed. Ayoda seconded. So we open the floor for comment.
Maybe if I can, okay. So, my name is Christo Joseph Ochoa, votes 89, number 51. Now, if I look at the statement of income and expense of the year 31st, 2022,
That's which page?
that is page 15. Page 15. On expenses, I've seen fines and penalties, that is, I understand it's what we are in. So maybe, I don't know, have we learned from it, or we still expose ourselves to the fines?
We've learned.
That's an expense, that is so big, and I know they are good at that.
Actually, we learned from it, and we subjected the officers who should have ensured that's done to sort it. So as much as it is reflected here, it's not going to come from embassies per se, but it has to go through that formal process.
Maybe we are not clear. Just maybe for clarity. Just expand on what they say. What he's saying, what the president is basically saying, when we met as the executive, we kind of passed on the bill to the responsible officers to pay it, but it was to come through the office. So it was drawn from the member state fund. As in, if the finance secretary was the one responsible, they met and we took the liability from their own pockets.
Then why is it here?
Because it had to be documented, since it will have to be paid there, so it cannot be paid outside the structures. So they remit their funds into the account, then to be paid from the account. And that was also based on the recommendation by the auditor at that time, because we are about to just have it paid right there. Thank you. For being, it's good to have laymen also around. The explanation is easier. Just like you said, they will ask you to know how much we want.
How much you spend? So,
Any other? Yes, good one.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. On the same, on the active percent, though I declare that okay, my background in accounting is not there, but there's this question of the registered members. When we go back to the law, our bylaws at ROBA, okay, I'm number 29 of 1993. When we go back to the constitution, the inception of the ROBA, what did we say? Okay, these members, they registered partially. I don't know, how did we come to deregister them? Or how were they deregistered? That is one. That's my question. I need to write on that. Two, when we were joining ROBA, we should separate this thing here. Could we be working with shares so that shares are not transferable? But when you say you deregister them, that will bring a question on a legal issue that I paid my money and me not being consulted, I was deregistered. How do we go about it? Can we create something that is in line with the legal aspect? How are these members, when you join ROBA, for how long are you supposed to pay? When you leave those shares as shares to the ROBA. We are not closing shop at ROBA. I might opt to leave today, but there's things that should remain to ROBA for sustainability reasons. So I think Mr. President, if you allow me, let's visit our legal. How is when you join ROBA, how should it be done? Because we register every other member. There are other members that we register partially. We don't know. They didn't give us. Why did they register partially? And then how do we treat them? Through the financial report is read. Did we discuss this? Yes.
There is no partial registration. You either register or you don't register. We gave time and an amount to be paid towards registration. So there is no way, if the registration was 5,000, then you come and pay 500, then you want to call yourself a member. It is even very, very wrong to call them members. You understand? Because they didn't meet the threshold to merit them being members. So, the whole thing here is, what I think should worry us is only one. If they are in touch, and they still say that, I'm still just trying to find, it is economic difficulties and all that, I'll fully register after this period, that is a different case. Or in any case, they come and claim, I intended to be part of you, but because of these inabilities, because of A, B, C, D, I'm not able to. I request if I can be refunded. We are not interested in the funds, but we are interested in moving with the members. Not, there is nothing like partly registered.
Thank you, because we asked, thank you for bringing that. That's the reason why I was saying we should refer to the legal provision in the association. If you fail to register, this is what should be done. Do we have it?
No, maybe there's something regarding these particular members that I need to shed some more light.
Okay.
I mean, when we all agreed that registration fee is going to be 5,000. Number two, you only get to be a member when you are fully registered upon payment of the 5,000. And I remember we did give people a schedule like the address period to pay. Number three, during this period, you remember there were the days when we were still contributing for welfare, like things like funerals and the rest. So we did a communication, number one. If you have not paid, like, you remember we had a funeral, we had to pay like 1,000 shillings. If you are not paying, you are going to recover the money from your registration fee to cater for that. And we also came here for a general meeting, our inaugural meeting, that each and every member should pay 1,000 shillings, which was going to count to be part of your registration fee. So these members attended the meeting, they paid 1,000 shillings, and they never made a follow-up of paying the balance. So the money was forfeited and it was expended in the AGM. So I'm talking about this particular case. There are many members here who paid only 1,000 shillings. They attended the meeting and the meeting had a cost. So that 1,000 shillings was to be part of the cost of the AGM. Are we together? Then they paid for that and then they attended the meeting, so the money was spent. So we made a follow-up, they never responded. So it was registered. Yeah. But again, I would advise that going forward, we need to look into, can we allow partial registration or we just register fully to avoid falling into this kind of pitfalls?
Thank you. I think my colleagues have responded from layman point of view, which is made it very clear for you. I will simply go on to the legal requirement that this we captured under Article 7, sub-article B of our Constitution, which gave what we are calling founding members up to 31st of October 2019 to fully register the promoting members. Then now, in terms of practice, what we did, which are all here in the assembly, they were being given notices which even overran beyond this 2019. But then the fact of the matter, which Welfare Secretary has said, is this amount here is not even not there, because before we came up with last expense cover, whenever there was a bereavement, we're looking at members who are still considered members per se, and they are not paid. Then if you have not paid for that particular time, whatever you had is removed. So all this their money also disappeared. It's not there. It went into what was being used for that. So it was in that context. But legally we are fully covered. For members who have registered fully, that is handled under Article 6 of our Constitution, I think sub-article C. We provide you on what circumstances members cease to be members and what affect. All that is well captured in the Constitution. So there is no lacuna, even for those who are fully registered now, on how that is processed.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Probably, maybe I will leave it to the two gentlemen, the internal auditor and finance secretary, also to advise us on the semantics, because I think this was a war we filed occasionally with the finance secretary, that in the same breath, welfare secretary said, these guys are not registered. We can't consider them the registered members and what. But they're the ones who know best terminology to use. But you can see now, this terminology, registered members, has brought this issue. But they were not members. They were promoting members, but they are not the registered person. They didn't become full members.
Thank you, the office, Mr. Leo. My take would be, these are our brothers. We need more members. What do we do from here? I agree with you, you are registered legally. That should be now or past. Going forward, what do we do this to? Because, again, you are going to recruit members. You would like to recruit members. For me, I would suggest this. I think our office, someone can we call these people and then maybe the people are willing to come on board. If they are to come on board, they should pay the 5,000. In short, what I'm saying, we give people optimal time to be with us. If you cannot be with us, we should also know that William Guglia outrightly said he cannot be member of ROBA. But we should not do that this guy does not do at this time, but still need many members outside there, as many people as you can. That's number one.
No, if I may comment that, I usually say when somebody starts with due respect, you know it is a bad message going to come. So these members were engaged individually a number of times. Even up to now, as we were having an informal meeting earlier, some people were asking, there are some senior people here who should be our members. Why are they not our members? And we said we continue trying to engage them in different ways. And but as we said now, they are not members. The straightforward is whoever is interested, you pay the 5,000 non-refundable. If you have some charm or magic, we can give you the contacts of all these 20 and bring us some on board. Because actually said also going forward, we want more recruitment. So that would be my recommendation. But it's true, we want more members and we want active members going forward. So we give you the contact to help us get some of these members.
But they might pay the registration fee and they are dormant. They don't participate in anything. So that would be needless. But you cannot call them members when people are doing something, they don't even participate. They don't even do anything on anything we are doing. So I think that is exactly where we are going to. He might register there and leave his money there. To be a member.
I would request we leave that to agenda. There'll be a robust discussion, because we're saying from this implementation of various things, the challenges we experience. I would leave that for agenda 9. When we come to it, we'll have that robust discussion. For now, it will simply direct questions on the council report and the finance if you have the issue. Are there members online who have questions? SG, you can be handling that and giving you another opportunity as well. There are members who has raised their hands and want to ask questions on the report. We can also check the assembly if there is any question.
Kadai.
Yes.
Kindly unmute and raise questions or greet us first.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Kadai. Yes, we do.
We have a pin, yes.
I think it must be network where he is. I know he's down in coast. We lost you, but you have pin. Yes, you are now.
Issues with fighting. I'm wondering how was the application registered and that as a trader situation on a welfare some sort of a limited liability kind of option.
It's registered as a society. You look at page 9 of the report. Up there will show that.
So what obligations do you take? Maybe you can that kind of point of. I know it's a matter of decision or carry power. Depends on how those issues relate to.
I don't know whether the finance. You want to respond?
We are getting the PIN certificate and then we'll get back to you on the obligations.
Okay, fine. Filing is being done.
Yes, the filing is up to date. So the penalties, the fines and penalties were for the first 2 years, but since then we've been filing, so we are up to date, including the 2022. We have filed.
The filing, nil filing, or how was that done?
Okay, before I respond to that, we have retrieved the certificate, and the only obligation is the income tax. Yes.
That's okay.
And Tadai, I think we'll get in touch. It seems you can be quite useful on helping us out of that.
Okay, can get in touch with you.
Thank you very much. Any other?
Because the way he has put the question, okay, the way he has framed the question, oh, yeah, that's fine.
Chelsea, is any question? Anybody else? Hello, the online team. Anybody else with a question?
Move on.
Thank you. I think with that we move to, we receive on the budget, 2023, FS, that's program, in program number 8. We're quite behind. I don't know why the welfare sector needs to manage this time. We're already 2 o'clock. We should have been number 13 by now. I think if you allow, we can allow FS to prepare on this. Okay. We can go to next agenda as it prepares on this. So number 9, receive or adopt regional reports. We don't have the current regional representatives here. We haven't received their reports, so we would bypass that. But we have, for Nyanza region, we have the elect officials here. We'll probably, by close of the AGM, be responsible thereafter. Can we get something on yearly report from Secretary General? If there is something beyond what is in the report, in the council report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I don't have much beyond what is here, but what I can say is just to emphasize the importance and the need for all registered members to be on this leave. Number one, as you can see from the report, nobody intends to be grieved at any moment, but you never know any time that you can be grieved. So you can see the ELE brings a lot of uniformity with the organization, and there's no discrimination. What you saw is what you get. So to avoid this ad hoc contribution, I request all members. I know economic times are tough, but we have varied bands. At least let's go for at least 100,000. Otherwise, you can also calculate if 100,000, the premium is 4,590. Divide that by 365 days in a year. You realize that in a day, you'll be spending like 7 shillings. And so far, let's take example of our colleague, Professor Odaro, who lost his daughter and the parents on the same period. If you were to contribute manually from our pocket, it would have been a very difficult task. So I request our members, let us strive to at least join this ELE. The last member who passed on, maybe questions have been asked, why did we not do the compensation in good time? There was no fault in ROBA's office or the insurance company. That member, because he died abroad, his death had a lot of complications. There were even legal issues on his death that we were not putting to the members' state. But what I want to confirm and report is that 4 days after that member had been buried, we received the compensation from the insurance company, and we compensated his family, both his mother and his wife. So I would just request, if you are not in the ELE, please put every effort required so that at least you can take the bare minimum. Otherwise, ad hoc contribution will bring disunity in the organization. Walter Dege can be bereaved, you give me 80,000. Tomorrow, Austin is bereaved, but because of one reason or another, Austin gets 50,000. Already there's a question. Why are some favored and why are some discriminated? So to avoid that, go to Central Kenya. This thing is going through a lot. We spread in the churches in Central Kenya. Can we adopt that? And it will make our life easy. On the same, it still does not stop you from joining any other welfare association or welfare kitty you may have in your place of work or any other place you are working. That's what I would say. In case any member has any question, we can pass over the documents from the insurance company to you and just reach me. I will always be ready to answer any questions. And lastly but not least, in the Insurance Act, there's something called utmost good faith. There are some cases we have seen where somebody is trying to bring third parties, and that should not be encouraged because it's spoil for the majority who are doing the right thing. And when we do that, when the insurance company realizes that, it means even our renewal premium will be higher. So let us do it with utmost good faith. To avoid such, we have also gone ahead to say if you have a third party, maybe your sister, who is not a member of ROBA, bring that person to us, we can put that person stroke under your name, but you pay the additional premium, so that we do it in transparently. That's what all I can say. Otherwise, the rest of the yearly is on the report, and I will not want to go beyond that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, SD. I will just add that I realized I underestimated the value we get from this in my earlier report. If you look at page 19 and 20 of the finance report, it shows you the first cover, the sum assured total for all membership was 50,248,300. We paid a premium of 346,870. When you look at page 20 up, the compensation 9th October 2020, we had 250,000 because it was near the premium for all members. Then you come to the second year where we were covered with 50,248,000 until 300. The premium we paid was lower because that insurance company, CIC, gave us a discount because there was only one claim for the whole year. So that's how the premium was 276,146. But then, unfortunately, there was so much bereavement that the compensation was 1 million. If you look at 14th June 21, 22nd June, 22nd June, and 9th July, total that is 1M versus a premium of 276. Then on 2022, sum assured 44,050,000. Premium we paid was 236,962, and the claim was 1.1 million up to December 2022. You didn't add what we now spent in early this year. So it just shows you the value that you get on this. And some could also ask the question, why is it that in the year 3, there were many members covered, but the sum assured was lower? We changed insurance company to a one which was more flexible in terms of if you don't have parents as far as the law, you don't have to take that cover. If you don't have a spouse, you don't have probably to take that. So that's why now the amount covered was lower, but it was now a bit cheaper and flexible for members. Then I'll also reinforce what I said, that we have a group for those who are undercover, and we now expanded it to allow you cover. Of course, there's a linkage with your membership because you are responsible for giving authentic information. You are the guarantor that this person is a good person or not. But the principle we were adopting was that you may have your staff who, if something happened, it will be your responsibility, your staff at home, your employees within your company. You may have a stepmother, if something happened, it will be your responsibility. So you're allowed now to cover them within that. They should be within your package, but you're allowed to cover them on their own, but under you in a way. So that's the resolution we've had on that. Thank you. With that, we go to the welfare.
But Mr. President, before you go there,
yes.
This one,
which one?
It was good. The one you are talking about, the GNP insurance for the dependents. Huh?
Yes.
Me, like the principal member, when we moved from CIC we went to KCB something.
Yes.
And remember, when we were doing this, like me, my dad was over 80. So when we went there, he could not be accommodated.
Right.
So you see, okay, however much it was good to very many, like me now, my father is angry because of the age. Because the insurance was, I called the SG. He was saying if he could have been joined the insurance, now you're 80. And now you see he's above 80. So I don't know what can we do, because will you kill these parents that you're too old now to be covered? Then the burden of facing this thing is now squarely on a person. I don't know how best you can negotiate this. In fact, it is giving me sleepless night, and because it's an AGM, let me just tell you, when this thing is giving me sleepless night. My mom is covered, my wife is covered, the in-law is covered, my dad is not covered. What's the prospect? What will you do to give on squarely, me talking on myself?
I think legally,
it's not only Gibbon.
legally, like I think there's even a member who lost, the mom during that time.
Yes.
But the mom's age could not allow it to be covered. It's not, unfortunately, it's not us who set this limit. The insurers have various limits that they provide. And I remember when with the CIC, we had negotiated a bit, but there's also a limit on how they could for re-entry. But now when we were changing from CIC, we're also looking at the code for the majority. We know that a personal issue weighs much to the person. But you know, we're also trying to see how we cobble with the majority in working that. But still, we can task, SG is the one who is in the sector, can try to have that discussion. But I believe the welfare secretary is also going to bring something here that we also wanted to discuss. I don't know whether to preempt it, but what we were looking at is that as much as this has more valuable benefit, administrative issues are nearly nil. Very few recent experiences have told us that probably we can also have some human face of agreeing some minimum contributions across board, whether it's 200 or 300, 500. Irrespective of whether you cover or not. So that those who uncover get more than what, but probably something. But we'll come to further discussion. But the challenge we had with those contributions, you can see the instance where we had to go to people's funds to deduct what they have is enforcement, speed with which you get the funds, and equitability, where some will get more and some get low. That's the challenge, but it will be a subject to discussion. But I think what may be more useful to you is SG discussing with them or looking at the options within the sector to get anything which can address your issue, even if it can be handled just for you applying directly.
He was a member.
Yeah.
Now when we moved, he
Yes.
ceased to be a member to be accommodated with the other insurance.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
yeah. So, on the SG, can you do something?
Yes, I think just
Maybe, yeah. You can
as
talk
much
to
as SG may try, after it affected me also
Okay.
in the case of my mom. Okay? And now I was trying other options from other insurances, but you see, this they are under same regulator, and when it comes to age limit, there is no option. So tufanye tu rafiki karibu, when we are hit, we know that tunashikana. Sawa sawa. But actually, I know there are some small people like, I don't know, there's something platinum steel what who just do for everybody, but maybe 50,000, 100,000. So I don't know whether it's worth doing these things.
Do you have
Yeah, I have something to, probably not to help you, but so that the SE can answer to even this one. In the past, even medical insurance, they had put a limit to 70 or something like that. But today, I know very big insurance companies like who are now insuring up to, I think, 700. Though the premium now is slightly higher. So maybe we can explore, even if it means, because we are going as a group and we are so many, we can explore even if it means a slightly higher premium for, because if you bargain as a group, there are high chances that they will listen to you.
Thank you very much. I think SG will. Okay. But I know SG is a good negotiator.
Yes.
Ukiona kitu that thing must be very tough.
Okay. I think the two members.
Yes, just on the line of negotiation,
Yes.
I have a concern, especially when it comes to renewal of
Personally, I know you, but others may not. So your name and membership number.
Oh, Francis Obala, cohort 93, member number 72, if I'm right.
Thank you.
Well,
72 is Tom Boyawi.
sorry. Oh, member number 87.
Now we can allow you to continue.
Bwana SG, could you please negotiate with the company so that we can begin doing our subscription prior to the time of renewal? Because I realized the other time we were renewing this, it was really stressful. You know, paying the premium at a go becomes very, very difficult. So if you can negotiate with them so that we can do something like monthly subscription or something, I think it will be easier. And for those who are salaried,
I just answer that on that. My recommendation would be subject to say it's a simple thing. Since funds come to us, just deposit that money in the ROBA account. Yeah, manage that. I think that would be the best solution.
And you specify it is for GL.
Yes. Yeah, you can just put after your name. GL. You can give something on how you specify it. Then keep it there, start it early. Whatever ukipata kitu, ukiuza mbuzi, unaweka.
Okay, to answer that, the insurance company give us 60 days notice. Renewal notice. 60 days prior to the expiry of the term. And we have done that, but it's unfortunate that sometimes we do that, but we don't pay keen attention to that. But to add on what the president has said, it's simple. Even today, just calculate your annual premium, you know how much it is. Then you can start even 6 months in advance, start putting 300, 400. We have all the records, we have the statement, we will know that Francis Improvement X has to be paid. Number two, the insurance companies on DLE are regulated by insurance regulatory authority. So I know ABSA Kenya can insure somebody beyond 80. But the question is, where the rubber meets the road, that we will not be in a position to get the rates that we have, that majority have. So, for those who are paying 45.90, you realize that ABSA Kenya will charge you around 7,800 because they are covering the old generation, the risk. So it's a balancing act. But since we are a big number, when this one is coming for renewal, we can still approach the insurance company to consider that.
What I would recommend SG on that is that first is Parang, I think yours has been set as an installment, yeah? Premiums may change at the time of renewal, but if you've been saving something, it should be less painful. On this, we could work with two options, because we also work with the overall membership having the best rate, such that even if they need having two companies running, so that for those members with older parents or what, there's negotiation, they'll compare the benefit we submit the premium that they pay, even if they're 5.
Yeah.
That's what we work with. But the overall membership needs to go where we have the lowest premium, but the lowest value, where we have the best value for our money. Yeah. With that, we go to welfare. If there's any additional report beyond what we have.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the records, Leo Aurora Tuno, member number 23, and the welfare secretary. Now, I don't have much to add on because largely what I ought to have presented has been discussed by the officials, because welfare, basically a lot of it we've been dealing with insurance. But I just want to give a recommendation from what the President has already preempted, is this question of DLE. Based on the feedback that we've gathered, is that we need to give it an approach. Even if you look at the uptake, the percentage of the membership who have taken DLE over time, it has not even reached 50%. And that was a concern. How do we fix this? This is my proposal, that we need to come up with a hybrid kind of approach. In that, because we realized that whereas the GLE helps the bereaved person, depending on who is bereaved in this context, there is a gap that connects ROBA to the bereaved family. Because there is no direct input that the family will get. I'll use the case of Nani, Nyumba. Nyumba passed on. They had issues, challenges to bring the body here and the rest. I mean, the human face that the President had just mentioned, we would have come in handy to give us, to lend us support. Yes, the money was given, it was paid, the compensation was given, but it was given directly to the wife, the widow, and the mother. But the family that bore the burden of bringing the body and giving the body a befitting send-off, where was ROBA? I would say ROBA was missing. So I would recommend that we give it, the implementation could be a challenge, but at the end of the day, we do these things in our daily lives elsewhere. And whenever we can get at least 80 to 60, 70, 80%, to me that one will be registered as a success. Can we come up with a figure, not very high, that is uniform? Because at the end of the day, what normally happens again is that when I'm not in ROBA, I'm not in the GLE cover, people discuss, I would call behind the tent, that can we support the cohorts, can create a group so that you can support. And I think it would be ideal, and it will motivate our members, if we take responsibility as the executive. Can we help this member support this member? We've done it before. We saw the response. Yes, it had challenges. But again, we can't always be pessimistic. Can we come up with a modest, some amount that's reasonable? For example, 500 or 1,000 that our members lost, and we give the limits. That's only the father, the mother, the kids, and maybe the member and the spouse. How much do we agree? If members would accept that, we can look around that. That we come up with those who are in GLE, just be in GLE, but they also stand to benefit whenever they are befallen with such a misfortune. So that we come up with a hybrid approach to fix this. Because you realize that in terms of mobilization, it becomes very difficult. Again, that what is this thing going to help you with? At the end of the day, we are Africans, and Luos for that matter. If somebody doesn't come in handy whenever you are bereaved or before in such a misfortune, kind of there's no connection. So emotionally, we are detached. We can attract our people by telling them that we can cushion them at such times. That is proposal number one. Another area that we need to look into is how do we support our students? The President has just shared the benefits of trying to support in terms of bursary and the rest. Alongside that, I would propose that we, in line with motivating the students in school, we come up with awards that are only custom for tailor-made for ROBA, like the most improved, like in all streets, we were proposing different awards. But again, what is important here is the budget and the implementation. Ultimately, it's going to be anchored on the program of the school. The school will be coming with the prize giving days. We are not going to share with that, but we just have an award that is earmarked for ROBA members that we want to contribute, like an estimated initial budget is around 150,000. That this award we are going to give, for instance, we are proposing, like the students who perform against all odds, circumstances that you could see the situation like somebody has an arrears of over 130,000. That's almost 3 or so years of school fees arrears. How do we come in to support such cases? So we were thinking of trying to motivate such, because maybe I would say most of us probably went through such situations. But how do we come in so that we get something that again connects us with the students going forward? So that somebody will remember that when I'm in school, if we do that, it will also help us to get members in future, because we will find something to entice them to join us going forward. So maybe those are the recommendations I would put at the moment. And again, there was another request that we were just given by Mwalimu here, that from time to time we need to raise money and support certain programs like the exams, the cards, and the rest for the candidates in a structured manner. Or in a nutshell, what I would request is that the members should accept, so that we put out proposals to raise mobilized funds as well for such interventions. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Welfare Secretary. To be specific on the last one about the exam support, which we were briefed here, that for the candidates between now and KCSE, it may be good for them to do some exams. The full exams, the cost of each full exam is 20,000, and they could do 4 to end of the year. So if membership could be able to help on that, we have some members volunteering to adopt certain exams. Somebody say this exam is mine, and another one follows suit. Then there may also be small exams. They call them speed test exams, which may cost about 5,000 each. They are to let us know about the number. That could work within support to the student. Thank you. You want to comment? There's a member who wants to comment virtually.
Engineer.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I just have to do a big issues. I wanted just to enjoy and based on the welfare report that Mr. Leo has given. Yes, I listened to the coverage of Dr. Nyumba, and there are many things actually which I learned on that which we will need to put into consideration. First, there are these members who have not joined us, and in my proposal, contribution sometimes is very hard, but I will see that if, let's say, we cover the principal member, we give a contribution, let's say if the 100K coverage for this principal member is like 4,500, then we can be able to contribute and cover this principal member as opposed to waiting and then contributing when he has left us, which means he a bit not uniform across. So if it is possible, then we can be able to get these members. Those who are unable to raise the membership fee, we can be able to at least basically cover the principal who is actually our member. Then when maybe his relative goes away, then we can be able to see. But for the principal member, I was saying that we can sponsor those members who we are having knowledge that they cannot be able to put the bill. And then when I listened to Dr. Numa's spouse, the last statement she said that we should not do some watching, and really that thing was really touching in her testimony. So in the welfare also, we should be able to have like the post-bereavement a way of, let's say, reaching to this family, maybe just giving them probably a visit if it can be incorporated within our welfare. Then on the trophy, I was seeing on the school, I was saying that just maybe to enhance maybe competition among the schemes for the country's students, those who are not yet in candidate class. ROBA, we can be able to introduce maybe a trophy, so we can have like even 4 trophies in each and every class, from 1, from 2, from 3. So whichever class becomes the top will stay in that class for that period of the class. And this one we can just, as members, we can contribute to support trophies. This will be able to enhance competition within the students within their streams. Otherwise, welfare is very good, because many members really feel that they are left. And when I looked at the comment we had in Dr. Numa's case, some members were feeling that we didn't do much. Though I know that there's a lot which was under. Okay. Yeah, I think those are the 3 items I wanted now to contribute on the welfare. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. We have noted your concerns. They will be minuted. The next person is Tadai. Tadai, you had your hands raised?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not sure. Okay, my comment is on ahead. Respect to welfare and handling. I'm not a member of the DA.
Okay, Tadayo, can you stop your video so that you just use the audio so that we can hear it clearly?
Am I on video?
Yes, you are on video and it's consuming your battery. Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. No, my battery was not a problem.
Okay. Whatever it is, just go ahead. Yes.
We are addressing also gaps in respect to crowds. Like the issue that was raised about juvenile material. That has to be a way of doing now, by doing that, I don't believe that we have to
Okay, Tadai, we can't, is it possible you can chat? Because we are not able to get you clearly.
Okay.
Kindly chat, we'll pick it from the chat. Gerald, Mr. President, Gerald, take the floor.
Yes, can you hear me?
Very clear.
Yeah, my concern is just about, just a follow-up from what Mr. Adai was talking about. especially when it comes to the cohort gaps. We realize that there are a lot of gaps based on the number of years, that between the years that graduated based on the cases in high school. I think the executive should be doing much sensitization so that we look at these years that are missing to reduce the gaps, so that we have up-to-date reports in our ministry. I'm done.
Okay, maybe Mr. President could respond
Cost gaps, eh?
Thank you. I think cohort gaps, we said, first there will be elections today, but the hub of ROBA is cohorts. So it's upon cohort representative, with the support of the council, to look for their colleagues and bring them on board. So like, I think your year may be 206 or something. You need to you know your members easily, have them brought on board, get their contacts, then the council executive can see how to help, even to facilitate on airtime and any other, and even a forum. But the main point is cohort representative to look for their colleagues and bring them on board. That's even why it was devised in that way, that each cohort creates a representative. Thank you.
Mr. President, I think maybe you need to get me well.
Yes, Gerald.
When I talk of the cohort gaps missing, let's say we have 2005 presented, but 2006 is missing. So there is no representation for that.
Yeah, I think that's clear. That's clear now. So the years which are missing, I think that needs to be what we continue getting that. Like we reported today that as per the report, the council are 26 members, but now we are 29. A few years have come on board, but let's all work together to, when you hear other years which are also not there, introduce them and we'll have a discussion with them. But the issue of the cohort, your cohort also growing, also needs to continue as well, in addition to as we reduce these gaps on the years. Thank you. I would like to bring something to members. Just briefly, there was academic clinic going on, as we were told. And our plan was that the last agenda was to have an interaction with students and the parents. Apparently they are through with that, but our AGM is still in the middle. So I would want to recommend, with members allowing, we can send some, maybe 2 or 3 officials to go and talk with the parents who want to leave. Students we can talk to later. And given Welfare Secretary has presented his report, he can be one of them. We could also have the incoming Nyanza region, one official, either secretary or rep, probably can also join me because we're operating more within this region. The members can allow. So, Welfare Secretary, you can either Robert or Francis. Robert.
Let's go with Robert. Just to say hi.
Thank you. With that, we can go to investment report. Whatever you have on investment, RMS.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Well, I'll simply give a few remarks on the investment. As much as I know from the number that is here, I don't know the people who are online, how many members might be registered so far. according to our roster, we have a total of 36 people who have registered to be in the investment group. And the intention of this is to empower ourselves by putting our money where it can give us something in return. As much as we brought it under the umbrella of the welfare in total, it is open only to the willing people who may want to invest. And out of the 36, there has been even some anxiety at some point why it is taking so long to at least move on. Early in the month, late last month, I gave a list of what we intend to do, but at some point I had to delay preempting what our intentions are until when we have this meeting which we are having today. Because I feel that many more people need to register to it, not only the 36 that I'm seeing online. This is about yourself empowering. It is not money which is going to go anywhere else. It is your own investment. So what we need to do, the first phase was to do the registration and come up with proposals of what kind of investments we could get into to give us something in return. We had our meeting of the committee, which I happened to chair. And we had a proposal that every year we should try and make sure that each person who joins pay up to 60,000, which means that we are looking at maybe an average payment of 5,000 per month for every member, for us to build an investment capital. But there are also ideas which came thereafter of having it in an open way, whereby it is done by shareholding. Because not all of us are equal in our earning or whatever we may want to invest. So that whatever comes in return is shared only according to what you had plowed in. All this is subject to discussion with the fully registered members and coming to agreement. The second part of it is what do we want to invest in? There are different areas where we may invest. But we were looking at something which is more factual and practicable in this case, where no one will say, will come to work out figures like when you invest in the bonds, maybe security bonds, which has its limitations with the term and even the period, I mean. We have cases like maybe joining high-yield saving accounts. We know there are some where people invest. We can talk of people like when you get to investing companies like Old Mutual. But we wanted to first start with something which is appealing to all of us directly. And our first suggestion was, can we raise money to purchase at least a piece of land at an area where we can invest and start reaping immediately in something like maybe hostel for students, because that is so direct. It is not something that you will have to still bargain or look into the fluctuation and increase of taxes and whatever it is when it comes to these other investments, like even in the stocks. So we were of an opinion, which I'm now preempting today, of us raising money, and we had a few areas which were hinted, particularly around the Nyanza region. We know that TVET is really doing much now, and we also have universities which we trust that are going to get to some level within our region. So we are looking at, can we get land at a prime area which can be beneficial towards this kind of investment? And there are proposals of getting land around Mawego. There are proposals of getting land around Sikri and any other places which you people can identify if that proposal can be agreeable. When we talk of Mawego, actually, apparently, when we were discussing that at our level, and we shared a bit with the executive, we realized that Mawego is really upcoming. It is the fastest upcoming area around. And the land, actually, just like 2 years back, land which you could get at 500,000 around that place now, we are told is going for not less than between 800 to 1.2 million, depending on the the distance from the institution. So this is just but one way of thinking of how we can invest. But since we don't have the money, we have first to think of how can we raise the money to invest in such kind of opportunities. And any other investment plan that the members willing may want to bring on board. Then we come to an agreement and see way forward, because this is something to empower us. Boy child is really neglected. We always want to talk about girl child. And particularly we men, what brings us together? What can give us a return at personal level of you as a man, and what has brought us together now in ROBA as alumni? I think that will be more appealing, and you will feel more secure. So with that, I don't have much to say, but what I may request is, may many people register. Don't think that we are not working around it. Then these proposals we are putting on board are subject to discussion with the members, not the total welfare of ROBA, but those who are willing to join. I think that is what I can put across at the moment.
Thank you very much.